There I am. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the show here. Forgot to hit me in the studio here, so a little bit of a glitch early this morning. All right, let's get to it. We got a six-way shake coming up in the fantasy league for Canaletto. We've got other horses that are going to be claimed as well. So we'll talk about some of the up-and-comers. We'll talk about some of the races that may or may not happen this weekend. We'll see with this forecast. Not looking good for Oaklawn, in my opinion, but we'll get more news on that later in the week. But let's do the shake first. There's a six-way shake in the fantasy league for Canaletto, a horse ultra impressive in his debut at Gulfstream. We'll do the shake first, and then we'll kind of talk about some of the other claims, and then we'll go one by one through all of the horses that are going to get claimed today. Not sure exactly how many just yet. Depends on who wins this shake. All right, six-way shake, Canaletto. Let's spin the wheel right now. A big-time shake here. Not sure why it wasn't a little bit more than this, but it wasn't. And it's going to be Paul. Paul is going to get Canaletto, and I can hear him cheering right now in his office in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Him and Thor are having a little party. Paul and I were there at the Pegasus and Sunday at Gulfstream, and we were both super impressed. We both separated. We watched replays of this horse, and he was like, I really, really want to win this one. So congratulations to Paul. He's going to get Canaletto. So Canaletto going to Paul, and he's going to drop Devon Island. So Devon Island got him 5 points last week, and now he's off the team, and Canaletto will be on the team. All right, well, let's talk about the newly claimed horse in the fantasy league. I'm going to put his Equibase page up for you here in just a second. Canaletto, obviously a very, very impressive winner of his debut race. This was a debut race that also had Spartacus, a horse that was claimed in this fantasy league by John White, the brother of Nest. It was a full brother of Nest, I should say. He just kind of, I thought with Spartacus, he didn't break the cleanest. He was on the rail. He kind of rushed up, and he just kind of faded. I wouldn't totally give up on him. I think he'll run better next out. It just wasn't his day on that day for Spartacus, but it was the day for Canaletto. He looked amazing when we were in the paddock. I thought, man, that horse looks very, very good. We were kind of comparing the two, and I thought, yeah, I think Canaletto's the horse. Honestly, he kind of just looks a little more on his toes, a little more ready to rock and roll. Broke sharply, got kind of that stalking position, made a big move on the turn, kind of there's the eye catcher. And then it was kind of, okay, let's see. He's ahead a couple lengths. Is he just kind of going to stick right there? Is he going to gallop away from him? What's he going to do? Yeah, he just totally dominated to the wire, galloped out huge. I thought it was a huge effort. Now, will he, come out of it? What will he do? You just never know. 89 buyer speed figure for it. We were probably standing right by the first finish line that they used for the mile and 16th. And I can tell you, he was hauling ass when he came behind by us. He was visibly running extremely fast. So like I said, this is a good one. I really like this horse. Who knows? It may be a little too late. Maybe we get him on the Derby. Maybe he goes somewhere else. I don't know. Maybe he never runs well again, but he looked awfully good in that one. So Paul gets Canaletto and going to drop Devon Island. All right. We're going to have, let me count here, 3 more claims today. So 3 more claims here. These were horses that did not have to shake on. So let's talk about them here. And the Jared and Kevin team, they're going to claim Crude Velocity. Crude Velocity going to Jared and Kevin. They're going to drop Hickman Creek. Hickman Creek last week was supposed to run against Canaletto and Spartacus, and he scratched out of the race. So they're dropping him, and they're getting Crude Velocity. This team does love themselves some first-time starters. Crude Velocity and Potente, both owned by this team, both running in a maiden special weight Saturday at Santa Anita against each other. Of course, they claimed a first-timer there in Mojacar at the fairgrounds as well. So they're going to go with more first-timers here. So Jared and Kevin going Crude Velocity and dropping Hickman Creek. Let's talk about Hickman Creek here. The son of Bo Liam out of a Lemon Drop Kid mare. Pretty decent workouts when you go look at them. Juan Hernandez is named to ride this horse. Kamara is named to ride Potente. But here's the deal, and this is why this is kind of an odd thing. Juan Hernandez is listed to ride litmus test on Saturday at Oaklawn in the Southwest Stakes. That race, I don't think is going to happen this weekend. It just feels to me like Oaklawn's not going to run this weekend based on the forecast and based on my many years of following Oaklawn. It just feels like that's not going to happen. So with that being said, did they name Hernandez on this horse because they're pretty sure that those races are going to cancel and so that this is the best horse? Or did they name Hernandez on this horse thinking they're going to have to replace him, and maybe Kamara, who is the second jockey for Baffert, is on the quote-unquote best Baffert in this race? It's a very kind of mixed signal type of thing. But anyway, Crude Velocity, I think him and Potente, probably one of the two, are going to win that race. It'll be interesting to see kind of how that unfolds. The jockey roulette, trying to read between the lines, all that kind of stuff. You just never know. All right, let's go to the Magic Mike team. They're on the board here with a claim. They're going to claim Global Aviator, and Sockdolager is going to go away. He's entered in a turf sprint, which is very strange. Global Aviator, the son of Global Campaign by a Quality Road mare. This horse, I should say, does have a start. He's 1 for 1. I'll go down here. He broke the maiden on 11:29 at Gulfstream Park in a decent effort. So he's going to run this weekend in the Holy Bull. So he'll at least get some points. The Holy Bull is a race. We're going to have a full preview out today of the Holy Bull. Kind of waiting around for full previews of the Southwest right now until I kind of get word one way or another. And then we'll have a full preview of the Withers once it comes out later today as well. But Holy Bull, obviously, Cannoneer and Nearly and Incredible, all three of them look pretty good in the Holy Bull. Like I said, full preview coming out of that one here in a bit. But Global Aviator throws his hat into the ring. We'll see what happens with him here in this one. I think obviously the Magic Mike Show wanted Canaletto, but they're going to try to get some points at least with Global Aviator this week. And then finally, let me get to the comments here in a second because there's a few I want to address. But Christopher, real quick, said, "Wait, Sockdolager is in a turf sprint? That makes 0 sense." Yeah, we all were getting a chuckle out of that. Like, what? Are you kidding me? You got one of the highest buyers at Fairgrounds so far on the dirt, and you're going to a turf sprint. Weird. But anyway, Global Aviator going to the Magic Mike Show. All right, one more. John and Ryan, they tried for Canaletto and didn't get him. They're going to go for a recent maiden winner here at Santa Anita, Secured Freedom, the son of Practical Joke out of an Uncle Mo mare. Tim Yakteen has this one. 2 starts, 1 win. So I'll go down here to the results. First start there at Del Mar in November. Just kind of gets his feet wet a little bit. Last time out, pretty good race on 12:28 there. That was on, it might kind of, it might kind of throw you off. I guess I'm trying to say, you think of Malibu Day as 12:26. It actually was 12:28 this year because of the rain. So anyway, it's a horse that won on the Malibu Day Stakes race, which is that's our maiden race, I should say, which is usually a decent race. So they're going to go Secured Freedom here. We'll see what happens next with him. I would think a stakes would be next with him, a Derby prep, but I have no idea. We're going to find that out here probably next week. We'll see if he enters maybe in the Lewis. But I take a shot here, try to get a horse that's going to be running for points. I understand that as well. So John and Ryan going to get Secured Freedom. They're going to drop Spartacus. I want to go on, talk just a little bit more, and then I'll get to some of your comments. But I'll talk a little bit more about the maiden again with Spartacus. It's always tough for a first time starter to draw the rail. So that was bad luck number one. He kind of feels to me like when I looked at that race, I thought, okay, he could be kind of a freaky type of horse, like full brother to Nest, right? It could be. It kind of felt to me, and really, as I talked to Paul about it a little bit on that day as well, is like this could be a prep for a 2-turn race next. Like he kind of looked like in the flesh a horse that just kind of, I don't know, he just kind of looked like he needed more ground. And he broke just okay, and then they rushed him up. I just have a feeling he might be the type, if say he draws the middle of the field next time out, and he doesn't have to be such in a rush, and they're going 2 turns, we might see something from him. What I'm saying is, I don't blame John and Ryan for giving up on him because, look, it's a league where you need to be earning points. You need to have horses. And by all intents and purposes, I mean, the Derby's not happening for Spartacus, but I wouldn't be shocked if this horse gets claimed back sometime in this league because I just think there's more to him than what we really saw right there. However, at the end of the day, Canaletto just destroyed him. So he certainly is a horse that you want coming out of this race. But Secured Freedom, anyway, going to John and Ryan. All right, let's get to some of the comments here. Christopher Curtis Manilow said, I'm interested to see how this race comes back, talking about the Canaletto race. I liked a couple in there. Yeah, me too. Canaletto certainly the standout. But again, like kind of like I alluded to, well, let's not forget, like Sovereignty debuted and finished 4th, right? In his debut when he went 1 turn. Like it's a long game, but with this fantasy league, it's a short game, right? But don't just say, well, Spartacus sucks. That's kind of my thing on that one. Yeah, so we'll see here. Canaletto owned by the same owners as Paladin, same connections. Super interesting what they do with him. I heard Tampa Bay Derby is very much possible for Canaletto. So we'll see what happens there. Paladin sounds like Risen Star, and then Bluegrass was kind of what they were thinking. We'll see if that go. Yeah, so we'll see. And I think Curtis, you mean if he's Chad Brown, so real chance. Yeah, no, if I could speak today, he's a Chad Brown, so real chance he goes Lexington Preakness. We kind of talked about that as well after. It's like maybe, you get him geared up for the Preakness, and we've seen Chad Brown do that to where, he'll have him pop right there at the Preakness and have that horse and kind of save him for there. So that's very possible as well. Like I said, Sock Doliger going to a turf sprint, very, very weird. I don't know. I don't know why they did that, but that is what it is. Yeah. Hey, Jared, what's up? Jared Clemens coming in, and he's saying he likes the claim of Canaletto, really separated in the stretch. That was the thing for me. And I highlighted just a minute ago. He, on the turn, like it was eye catching. Cause we were standing there and we were watching Spartacus cause he kind of shot up the rail and he had the lead. And on the turn, it's like, well, Spartacus has no chance. Like Canaletto just circled him. But now what does he do? Does he kind of mess around and only win by, and I say only, it's still, I mean, it would be a good win to win any maiden special weight at Gulfstream. It's like, do you win by a length or two? What happens here? Does he let somebody else in the race? And that was kind of the thing that was like, wow, once he kind of was a little green for a minute. And then once they got him going, he buried him, and he buried him all the way into the far turn and onto the backside before he disappeared from sight. So yeah, I really loved how he separated as well. So yeah, we'll see what happens with him. He's a very, very, very fun horse. But again, sometimes these maidens turn out to be something, and then sometimes they run again and again, and it's like, what happened? Where was that really good race we saw at Gulfstream? So we'll see what happens with Canaletto. I want to get this comment. Gulfstream Pegasus destroyed my bankroll. The CAW system seems brutal there. I wish I could blame it on CAW. It was probably one of the worst days of I would say the worst day I've ever had handicapping races. And that's not even, that's back to 2007 when I was a novice. No matter what I kind of tried to do, it just was not right that day. So I'm with you there, Jordy. And all I can tell you is, if Pegasus beat you, you're not alone. And I just, it's one of those things that I've learned you just can't rehash it. It's just like I don't know what happened that day. There's a couple races where, it's like, yeah, I probably should have went that way or this way, but a lot of those, it's like, well, look, I'm never getting to them anyway, so I'm not really worried about it. It happens. I remember a Pegasus day. I think it was 2 years ago, maybe. I think it was the year Art Collector won it, and I was the same kind of thing. It's like I don't know. It may have been Art Collector. It may have been. I don't really remember which year it was, but it's the same thing. It wasn't as bad as last Saturday, but it was just kind of like I don't really know, what to do. And it was also one of those things where it's like, say I was in a pick 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever, and I'm too deep. The third horse was winning every time. And then say I'm 4 deep, the fifth horse would win. Then say I'm a singled, the second horse would win. Like that happened all day as well. So I couldn't string anything together. Just again, I wasn't I wasn't any good at all. Yeah, at least you got to enjoy the weather. And we kept telling ourselves that we were like, yeah, you know what? It could be worse. We could be home like I am now and staring at snow and the roads covered. So yeah, wish I was still down there, but it was very tough. I will say, we went back to the track Sunday, and like we were great. I mean, I'm not gonna say we couldn't miss because you miss one or two or whatever, but it's like we were great. And I was just telling Paul, it's like that's just how it is. Some days you're just awful, and some it gets kind of back to normal. Davey says Gulfstream might be the most unplayable track I've played. It pays when it works out, though. That's kind of true. I like it a little bit. I don't think it's unplayable. I don't know. It just that day it seemed to be it wasn't for everybody. I mean, some people hit stuff, so I shouldn't say that for everybody. Pratt was ice cold. There's no doubt. He was he couldn't buy a win, and some. It all started with risk tolerance. A horse that I really liked, and it's like you're 100 links back, and it's like, yeah, you're never going to win, but here he comes. He makes that crazy move. So, oh yeah, unpredictable, not unplayable. Sorry, it's early. I've had a long flight or long travel day yesterday. I can't read as is. All right, so 3 big races coming up. One's definitely going to run, the Holy Bull. The Withers kind of feels like it's going to be okay. Aqueduct is canceled Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Sounds like they are going to run Saturday. They're drawing the Withers today. Southwest, let's keep an eye on it, right? Southwest at Oaklawn Park, freezing temperatures. We've seen this before. We got a lot of weather here, and I know they did as well. So we'll see what happens. I hope they do run. You never want to, a race to get pushed back, but we'll see you on Oaklawn, and we'll give you any updates when that happens. Full previews coming out of all of them here. Once this video is done, we'll get to work on that as well. So, all right, guys, that's going to do it. Thanks everybody for joining us this week. I'm sure we'll be back next week. We got 3 preps. I'm sure there'll be more claims, more up-and-coming horses to talk about on this show. All right, guys, thanks everybody for joining me, and we'll see you next week.